Yeah, so we are sorry for the break in transmission. Like as I was saying, I've introduced my guest, comrade Osawaro Adeni. I don't want that Igbi to enter to enter my mouth.
It's a big name. Call it
Igbi.
It's a big name. Call it Igbi. It's a pleasure.
So that is it, and Engineer Larry, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. For
So,
having me.
like as I was saying, we are looking at the climate change and the effect on human beings, and people are seeing so many things happening these days, like the wind is even abnormal, the rain is abnormal, the whatever that is happening around the climate is abnormal, and people, are just looking at it like that, and living without even knowing what is happening around them. You understand? And today we are here to, educate them on what that leads to all this abnormality on climate and the weather condition and whatever that happens around us. So, Comrade Osawaro,
Yes.
can you let us know
Effects.
when we are talking about climate, what do we mean by the climate
Change.
and the change in it?
All right.
One is the climate, the other one is the change,
Okay.
and then the other one is the effect.
All right. But once again, Mr. Giba, thank you. When we talk about climate, we're talking about natural, horizontal creation by God. When we're talking about climate, we're talking about weather. Likewise, when we're talking about climate, we're talking about change of weathers and position of atmosphere. That's climate change. And now when we're talking about the change when it comes to climate, we have different type of climatic weathers. We have different kind of weathers that gives us the climate.
Yes.
You understand? We have the sunny climate, we have the rainy climate, we have the hazy climate. All these are climates that makes up the world. But when it is excessive, it becomes a problem. And what comes about the change?
Excessive in what way?
When it's becoming excessive, because everything is supposed to be on moderation.
Okay.
So when the climate is excessive,
Okay.
like we have cold weather is a climate too.
Yes,
We have cold climate. That's why they call it
Yes.
hot climate and cold climate.
Yes.
When the cold climate is excessively cold,
Yes.
it becomes an issue to the habitat.
Okay.
But if you see, when we talk about the change in climate, most of the change in climate are not natural. They are human effects that have
Yes.
caused this climate change.
Okay.
And if it may interest you, when we talk about, let me use the cold climate area,
Yes.
like the North Pole, the island. You see, because they stay in that cold climate area, God himself has made provision on how these people who live in this cold climate area can manage themselves.
Yes.
Do you understand? Because he is a God that makes everything perfect.
Yes. Okay.
He's a God that makes everything perfect. Go to those climate area now, those climate cold area.
Yeah.
God has made provision for them to manage that climate.
Okay.
If you go to the hot climate area,
Yeah.
God has made provision for them to endure and stay in that climate area. But when this climate now turns around to become very excessive and effective to us, the change is as a result of sometimes natural, most times human activity.
Okay.
Sometimes natural, most times human activity. If we're talking about change in climate, it's as a change in weather formation.
Okay.
Change in weather formation. We can have sun this moment and the next thing is raining. It's called climate change. The climate just changed from sunny weather to a rainy weather. But the change we are experiencing now is as the result of man activity.
Okay.
The North Pole now that is melting down is as a result of excessive heat porridge by man to the ozone layer is now melting the North Pole. And that is why the North Pole is melting now, and the level of the sea or the Atlantic Ocean is rising every day. Okay. And now the effect of that now is this flood that we are looking at now. Okay. The excessive climate change of sun now is what is causing drought in the desert area. Okay. Where things can't grow any longer because of excessive heat of the ground. Yeah. People can't even stay there any longer because of excessive heat. Because man has tempered with the original design of climate to we all. Okay. Do you understand? Yeah. Now when we're talking about the effect now, one of the major effects of climate change is displacement.
Displacement.
The major is displacement.
Displacement of what?
Displacement of humans, because the topic is climate change, the effect of climate change to humans, on humans. Yes. Displacement of humans and animals from a particular habitating area. Okay. When the flood starts now, people in Infant Jesus and My Five, they will be displaced of their house and properties. Okay. When the heat starts now in the north, people will be displaced from their house and properties because of the excessive heat of where they are. Now they want to go look for where they can get calm weather. Dubai now is facing displacement. Why? As a result of human effects to the climate, excessive rain now, they are not displaced. As I talk to you now, one of these countries, I don't know which of the countries, Pakistan, maybe Afghanistan. Okay. Now they are passing through sandslide. Okay. Sandslide now has killed over 200 people in that Pakistan area, the Afghanistan area, where sand is moving like flood. Sand is moving like flood. It has killed over 200 people. So these are the effects of climate change to human. First of all is displacement from housing, property, and life to be involved. So those are it. So if we say let's divert, but the major one is displacement, making you out of your house, staying away from your family, taking you away from your present abode to another place that you didn't plan to stay. And the process of that displacement, you are uncomfortable because where you are going is not properly planned for you. So the effects are enormous, but the major one climate change does to human is displacement of humans. Yes, thank
you so much. I want to welcome Comrade Maxwell Egbe, the State Secretary, PSP. You are welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
For coming late.
Engineer Larry, looking at what we are discussing, I know quite well that you have lived in many different weathers. You have been in Nigeria, you have been in US, you have been in UK and others. How do you look at this climate change issue we are talking about?
Thank you very much. Actually, I want to mention one or two things that leads to this climate change. Okay. And number one of them is gas flaring.
Okay, gas flaring. Okay.
You know, and
which is
oil company, activities are the
which is common in our own
environments. You know, one of them is gas flaring into the ozone layer. Okay. And another one is bush burning. Okay. It affects our weather. All right. The other one, like it, is the activities of some factories. Okay. You know, that emits all kinds of things into the atmosphere. Yes, okay. It distorts the ozone layer, and you know, it brings a harm to the climate. Okay. And the reaction of the climate is what we are receiving as humans. Okay. And most often times, it brings in sickness into our bodies. Okay. You know, like respiratory sickness, skin disease. You know, if you look around town now, you go to hospitals, you find out people just wake up and they see rashes over their body. Yeah. That's as a result of climate change activities. You know, so excessive heat, you know, and because God, like the former speaker said, God has designed all these things to be moderate. Okay. But I think we human beings are using our hands to both destroy the climate, and we are heading towards human destruction. You know, if we are not taking very care of our climate. So these are some of these activities. What goes up into the atmosphere returns back to us, and we're having all kinds of sickness, all kinds of disease, afflicting us that naturally they are not supposed to, to be. So I think there are people who specialize in some of these areas, providing solution to some of these activities. If they can come in and work with the government, or the government will sort for them and work with them, maybe we'll be able to, probably not eradicate, but reduce the effect, the impact on humans.
Okay. So, Maxwell, you see, you look at what we are talking about. I want to ask you one question. We are saying all this here because probably we know what is going on. Probably because we are privy, or we are opportune to know what is happening in the environment. But do you think that everybody, let me use Nigeria as an example, people of Nigeria, do you think they know all these things we are talking about? You know, they are knowledgeable of what is going on around them.
Thank you very much once again. I apologize strongly for coming behind the time. It's a very timely topic that we are discussing, because the world is experiencing a very drastic change in climate. Bringing it to our locality, I want to say categorically that our awareness concerning climatic change is very low.
Very low.
Very low. In the sense that most of these things that happen, and some of our communities related to ancestors and the gods.
And the gods.
Yes, they related to the ancestors and the gods. The gods are angry. When they plant things and it doesn't grow, they say the gods are angry. When the rain falls excessively, they say our ancestors are angry. Probably because they have not served them well enough.
They have not sacrificed enough.
They have not sacrificed enough. So that is why in developed countries, they are very aware of the challenges of the climate. Or the challenges that the change in the climate, developed world. That is why you see that their governments and even private organizations and individuals are doing a lot of research work to see how we can reduce the degradation of the environment, to reduce the effect on the climate. You can see that renewable energy is being introduced. You can see that vehicles, moving vehicles, trucks that are using electricity without emitting any form of gas is being introduced. You can see that they encourage the residents to plant trees in their compound, and so on and so forth. That is to tell you that they are aware of the situation that we are in right now. And we also know that these countries try as much as possible to educate, to inform and intimate developing countries or underdeveloped countries on the way to go. For them, they have experienced a lot of you can see that their weathers are extreme weathers. When there's cold, it is excessive. When there's heat, it is excessive.
That means the climate something is also affecting them.
Came from UK, and I said, this sun hot. He said, no, he said the sun for London, the hot past this one when he wants shine. When he wants to shine, the hot past this one. So theirs, because of their activities, is now extreme. We are still lucky that we are still at least we are still almost at a natural level because of our development. We talk of industrialization and all that, but Nigeria is fast growing. So there is need for the government to start to educate. Like I said, we have all policies on ground. we have the orientation agencies.
Okay.
I want to say that the orientation agencies are not doing enough. Is it that because they are not being funded, or the right persons are not being put in the right places to pass information? Because when we say sensitization, it's something that's supposed to be ongoing.
Yes.
It's a continuous process.
Yes.
It's a continuous thing. You just need to, when the rains wants to start coming, there's jingles, there is everything to educate the people. And let us not reduce our information to the cities alone. Okay. I think people in the locality, local areas need more of this.
In the local areas,
need more of this information. That's what I'm saying. They need more of this awareness. They need more of this sensitization.
But they say plant more tree than we.
Of course, that's what I'm saying. They are still living in their natural environment. We are felling trees, covering waterways, say we are building city. So all those things, like we said, there's urban planning.
So who is more educative in this very matter now?
In our natural environment, when the world was created by God, I'm sure my colleague must have said it, the ecosystem was balanced. God, the architecture of the world was such that human beings were supposed to live inside it for a very long time without sickness, because everything was planned. But since we have altered it, like I said, if you go to the communities, local communities, the altering of their system is not as much as that of the cities. You cannot compare a place like Abuja and Lagos to My Five. Okay. You can't compare it to My Five. Or to Ubolu or to Ela. You will see that those people are still living almost in a natural environment. Then by the time this development, because you can actually industrialize a place and develop a place and still maintain a level of the natural vegetation and all that. But we don't look at, we just keep cutting. That is no plan.
Destroying the
Remember there was a viral video that somebody in the US, I think in Atlanta, parked his own car on his own grass. I think it's the engineer that said it. Parked his car on his own lawn in his compound, and they came to give him a ticket. Why are you parking on the green area? Why are you parking on the grass? Why are you killing the grass? The grass is natural. They need it for beautification. They need it for health.
Front of the house.
Inside this compound, parked on the lawn. So you can see that those people are very aware of the need of green areas, very aware of the need of natural environment, which we have by virtue of our level of development. But the government of the day don't seem to care. The people that gave this guy the ticket to go and pay a fine for parking on the lawn is a government agency. It's a government agency to tell that their eyes are everywhere to ensure that you don't distort what the government is trying to put in place to reduce sickness, to reduce short lifespan, to reduce hypertension and all those issues. Because when we have a serene environment, because like I always tell you, when you say a city is mega, it's not mega for filth, not mega for dirty, not mega for unplanned buildings. Closed, you go to here, it's closed. Somebody has blocked the road and built a house. You turn this way, somebody has put a mechanic workshop there, blocked the road, and people are building stores on top of gutters and all that. Those are because at the end of the day, like he said, the effect of all of these things comes back to us as negative. As negative. So we need sensitization. We need information. And people that are in the villages, you can, if you go there, you see that they are living almost still a natural.
They still plant trees.
Yes, they still plant. You see? So but when you increase the gas, cooking gas, you increase the electricity, you increase the people who does not have any option than to fell the trees.
And look for firewood. Use for firewood. You see. So, Osawaro, looking at what we are discussing.
Complete it to put the Igbenedion on.
I don't want somebody to I don't want to call your name. I want to borrow it. So, all right, sir. Yes, we mentioned just now that the developed world, they are even more enlightened and more observant and also educative about this climate change. But yet we still say their own kind of climate is even hotter and even colder than our own. So who is? Why is it that they cannot even control the effect of the ozone layer?
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
You know, it is not everything that man can do.
Okay.
The most simplest thing man can do is to destroy or recreate.
Okay. Recreate?
Yes.
Okay.
Man can destroy and recreate. What I mean by recreation is duplicating.
Okay.
You understand? Duplicating. Now, why these people are still passing through these things is that the error has been done.
Okay, they have
now they are trying to augment it and trying to come back to that level.
Yes.
It's now for them to now use their own human factors,
okay,
human initiative. Originally, trees is naturally given to us by God to shade the sun and to give us fruit. Now, human has come to cut down tree that was giving us shade, has cut it off that was giving us food. Now there is no shade, now there is no food. Now humans have not taken it upon themselves. Let's build house that will give us shade. Abi?
Yeah.
Now humans now took it upon themselves. Let's start doing artificial production by using fertilizer and all those things to grow our crops, because the tree that was supposed to give us fruit, food to eat, we have killed it. Now, I just gave you an illustration.
Yes.
Now, so that is where they are not saying renewable energy. They've done enough damage and they don't want to do more. They don't want to continue. That's why the idea of renewable energy, plant trees, do this, all their foods now are organic. Because no natural ground now for them to plant natural meal or natural crops. It's not organic. So they are trying to undo their error.
Okay.
But in undoing it, there are some errors you cannot undo, like the climate,
the ozone layer.
like the ozone layer. You cannot do it. You want to go and put tarpaulin upstairs. You want to tarpaulin the sky. That rain should not be touching ground.
It's not
or you want to go and put a water covert. That when the rain falls, this water covert will channel it down to a drain. It's not there now. So that's why this thing is still affecting them over there. Excessive heat, excessive cold.
The damage has already been done.
And the damage has already been done. Because they were the one that started this kind of exploration.
Okay.
The places that this exploration took place now are now cities over there.
Okay.
You see this exploration we are doing now, all these places now, a time will come. This place you think is abandoned now, it will now come. Habitants will start staying here. It will become a city. And that's why, like he said, we need to be sensitive. And that is why the Western world are still suffering this thing. Look at the instance I gave to you in Dubai. You have dam. You need water. Instead of you to channel your dam to be giving you water, you say you need natural rain. That it is long rain fell. It is long rain fell in Dubai. That everywhere is hot. You need rain. Because when rain falls, it comes with a cold wind.
Yes.
So they needed that natural cold wind. They now went to induce the sky. Get the sky pregnant. And the sky did not get to 9 months. And it born premature. And the next thing, the rain fell for more than how many days that flooded the whole of Dubai.
Yes, heavy one.
That made the whole
artificial
rain made the whole of Dubai, all of them now are homeless. That is one of the effects of climate change to human being. Displacement. Now they want to try the climate and it has displaced so many of them. So what we are doing now is that most things have been done wrong. That is why they are bad. But for we, that till now, we have not gone to that level. I was expecting that we in Africa, we are supposed to learn by these people's mistake. But one thing I've discovered in Nigeria is that we prefer, they say, learn from other people's mistakes. But in Nigeria, we like to make the mistake
and learn it by ourselves.
And learn it by ourselves.
And try to correct it
by ourselves. And try to correct it by ourselves.
And inside that correcting it,
you die, thank you. Many things will happen. So I think in our own context this way, for now that we know that this climate change is a matter of urgency. In fact, climate change is a global war now. It's a global matter. It's a global war. Dubai is not resting. Asians are not. The G20 countries are not resting in terms of this because it is because this climate change now. That is why Elon Musk has gone to discover that human being can stay in Mars. You never hear that? Have you heard about it?
Yes.
That Elon Musk has flied space to Mars, and they've gone to do experiment that human being can live in Mars. Things can grow in Mars. Anything living. Plant is a living thing. Man is a living thing. They've gone to do their experiment and they see that things can live in Mars. Now they are planning now to go build another country in another world or another this in Mars, another nature in Mars. Why? Because of this fear of this climate change. Because scientists are saying every day that a time will come, this cloud will fall upon the earth. That is what scientists are saying. That whatever that is holding the cloud, the fragmentation has happened, it will start falling on human being. So the rich, like the Elon Musk, maybe perhaps like the Dangote and Otedola, they have started making provision that before that thing will happen, they will be at Mars. So that's one thing we face in this part of our country. Now, if you see now, like my engineer here talk about bush burning as another effect.
If you tell them, nobody will.
Now, sir, we're talking about climate and every other thing change. Do you know that these estate valuers that are estate valuers come and buy land at Ugbolu, estate developers come and buy land at Ugbolu, 100 naira, come and buy. Now they have displaced farmers. Yes. You are not ready to build a land now.
In the next 20 years.
In the next 10 years or 20 years, but you have gone to fence it around,
buy it and cover it,
buy it and
cut all the trees down,
cut all the trees down,
everywhere.
grade everywhere, and displace farmers. See, climate change brings hunger. You know why?
Serious.
Because rain will not fall for the plant to grow. Excessive rain will fall and the plant will rot in.
Yes,
because when the ground is too soft and moisty, the crops on the ground, too much water, they decay. So climate change has effect, as in so much effect on human being that if we have excessive rain, it will flood us, it will displace us. Very soon, I pray we don't have overflow. People in my 5 and the infant Jesus, they will be displaced and be looking for where to squat. And this climate change is the climate change issue that is making the Western world to be proactive, like America now, that they're saying they want to, like London. London now has started using electric cars. They have started reducing emission of gas. It is because of this climate change, because they know that the harm is enough. They don't want to do more harm to themselves, ensuring that they plant trees, because the trees, they give us good oxygen to breathe in. If these trees are not there, that means the oxygen they will be breathing will be contaminated oxygen, like what engineer said, which should now bring sickness and ailment to them.
Yeah, thank you so much for your contribution. My brother Larry.
Please, let the mic control. Go on.
Okay, let's move again. As I was saying, our people, seems not to be aware of what is going on. At least we, as a government, we are privy of what is going on, but it seems we are not, proactive enough to see that tomorrow will not, suffer much. Especially this gas flaring. If you go to where they flare gas, around that place,
plants
trees
are not growing.
no plants can grow around that area. You will see everything, being dead, black. What of people who are living the
excessive heat?
Yes. What of people who are living there? So why is it that we are so poor in managing our situation?
Well, it's so sad. Obviously, looking at what is going on all around the world now, you can see that human beings are heading towards self-destruction.
Yes.
It's very obvious. Having said that, there are some things that government should start looking into. Tree felling. The way they fall trees randomly is it's not good for the weather. It's not good to protect us from the effect of the weather as well. Those days when we were young, I used to hear about forestry.
Yes.
I used to hear about forestry. Everywhere. It is an arm of government that actually look into some of these things and make sure that you don't even fall trees anyhow.
Yes.
I remember, my second home in Canada, where I used to live. One day I just felt that the trees behind my house were, growing so wild. I wanted to tame them. I decided to use I had this dormer, because it's very cheap there. You can just get it from stores. And began to shave the trees, try to prune the trees and every other thing. The next day, I had a knock on my door. When I opened, it was uniformed men. I was wondering, what have I done? And they said I was illegally, falling trees behind my house. Oh. And for many years I was living in that house. I never knew that the trees belongs to the government. I wasn't supposed to touch it. All I was supposed to do was to call the attention of the forestry department to come and prune it. But I was doing it myself. And I don't have that know-how. I might kill it or I might destroy them. And that is what they don't want, because it's very expensive even to plant some of those trees.
Yes.
I was in Las Vegas last year. I discovered that the entire Las Vegas is built on a desert.
Yes,
it's shocking.
Yes, it's desert.
And you know what it is to even plant a tree in a desert.
Finest city in the world.
And they were able to, both artificial and natural trees were planted there. And I began to wonder, from the air, looking down, you will see the activities and see what is going on, and you know how expensive it is to plant a tree. But here, our habitation, God has blessed us so much. Even if you drop a seed of beans just outside there or corn, you can feel it starts growing on its own. You don't need to fertilize, you don't need to water it.
Enhancement.
So, what I believe that the government would have done is to create a special arm of government that will start, not only educating people, creating awareness about destroying our environment and some of those natural things that God has blessed us with, and then they will go as far as encouraging everyone to plant trees.
They should be intentional.
Plant trees behind your compound, in front of your houses. Even if it's commercial trees, let's start with you see how beautiful. In Vancouver, when I arrived in Vancouver some years ago, I was just right there in the plane. I was looking at the entire place. It looked like, when they said we have arrived in Vancouver, I looked at the whole place. It was like bush. And I was telling myself, I was just coming from Europe. I said, no, maybe I have to go back to where I was coming from, because Europe is better. It was the following day, I went to certain places, West Vancouver, went to this place. I discovered that those trees were just there, even protecting humans, they're protecting the environment, makes even the environment more beautiful and attractive.
Yes.
And when you
was bush.
It was just bush. I saw trees everywhere.
Roofs.
So
be breathing, it will be
fresh. Look at the industrialization taking place in China now. It has made them, they don't even have fresh air. Yes. It will shock you that China, some parts of China, they are beginning to buy
oxygen.
See? They come to trap air in forests in Canada.
You see?
And export it to be used
in China
to have just fresh air.
Because of industrialization.
Emission into the atmosphere.
Yes.
When I heard about it, I wanted to see it because I couldn't believe that you can buy air.
Yes, no.
But it has come to that extent in China. You know, if you make research, you find out that
it's like that.
And when you come to Vancouver, you know, you see everywhere flowers. They encourage you to plant flowers, plant trees, so that, you know, the air there can be very fresh. And also, we are forgetting the emission of our cars.
Yes, that's why I talk about electric cars.
Our emission of our cars, very dangerous.
Generators.
And everybody will just be breathing it and just going
inhaling
nothing.
Yes, asthma and all the rest. You know,
disease.
There's this thing they do in Canada. They test your cars. They call it air care. You have to go for air care. And if your vehicle fails air care, you don't even need to see the smoke. You don't need to see it.
Okay.
Because there are some emissions that are very invisible. You can't see it.
Yes.
But the machine is able to detect it. If they are able, it doesn't matter even if the car was purchased last year. Even if it's a year old, you can't use it in Canada anymore. They will write it off. And when you are caught, you are in trouble. So those are some of the cars we used to import to Africa. And we call it very brand new cars. You know, they fail air care test. In some of those countries, and they look very neat. Some of them even come with a rubber on the body. But you can't use it there. Why? Because they value the lives of human beings. They value your health, and they don't want people to go on destroying other people or destroying themselves with what they are doing for themselves. So the government should care enough. You know, I've lived in countries where they value one life. You know, here you can hear about the killings in Nigeria, and oftentimes if you don't come from a prominent family, you don't have money, nobody gets to hear about it. People die every day, like fowl, like chicken, especially in some parts of the north. They take lives anyhow. When one citizen dies, the whole city will shut down. If I ever call an ambulance that somebody is having a situation in my house, both fire trucks, both ambulance, just for one person, maybe it's a child, you'll be surprised. That's how helicopter for emergency, just to save one life. Here we see even dead bodies on the streets. It doesn't mean anything to us as long as it's not related to us. It has nothing to do with it. You know, so the problem is that governments, they don't even know you exist, let alone caring for you. That is the truth. We are all statistics until it comes to election period. They now see the crowd. You know, but it's a high time we began to look into some of these things, because even if you have all the money to protect yourself, you don't have the money to protect all your relatives. They will fall victims as well. Anything can happen to them. So this environment belongs to all of us. If we destroy the environment and it doesn't affect us directly, it will affect us one way or the other. So it's a business of everybody. We should, let me tell you, if the government can stand up and encourage everybody in Asaba here, for instance, to plant trees, I want you to imagine how beautiful,
how green it will be.
And not only that, we can even generate revenue from some of those commercial trees.
Have you been to Idumujuboko? Ned Woko's village, where it stays.
I have been to this place.
You have been to this place. You see everywhere
green, lush green.
Yes, you love it.
So the tree, we should look into some of these. The way we fall trees, you know, illegal. It happens in a lot of places. You just see it, you know, unauthorized felling of trees.
Because I want to be the house.
They will not even.
They won't listen to you. They won't listen to you. Building of houses. If there are natural trees around that, you incorporate it in the plan and leave it there.
Better one will cut it down.
You should stop destroying our environment.
Thank you so much, engineer. Maxwell, looking at what we are discussing, so what exactly your advice to our people and to government too? Because you know, if, for example, government is checkmating people, you know, felling trees and other things that, you know, disturb the environment, you know, I'm sure that people will also listen.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Gilbert. The truth of the matter is, if you remember where all of us are coming from, we are all coming from a community.
Yes.
From a village. And those places are not like nowadays. They are not like the cities. We have that culture from our different traditional backgrounds. Let us keep it. It is not bad.
Okay.
Being a city does not mean that there should be no tree.
Yes.
That because we want to make a place a city, then the place should not have tree. The place should not have flower.
Yeah.
And some new policies have to be put in place by the government.
Okay.
Policies like you cannot interlock or German compound your compound completely. You must leave, no matter how small your compound is, a green area must exist inside of it. Because if you pass through a street with about 25 houses, you will see that the 25 buildings are interlocked, German flood. Then when you look at places like America, like those that have traveled, you will see a whole street, no fence, no German floor, no interlocking. Everywhere is grass, green, with flowers and trees. And we say we are copying their style. What are we copying? What are we copying? So those kind of policy must also come, that a tree must exist either inside the compound or outside the compound. I want to also thank the former DG of Capital Territory, Honorable Joan, yes. She did so much in Asaba here. It's because of her that we have the small green areas we have.
Yes.
The trees on the median curbs, the flowers, and you see some areas like if you get to DLA Road by Summit Junction, you just see an area that they left for grasses and trees. Yes. You go to Temple Clinic Junction, you see an area they left for grasses and trees, and that is how it should be. And you can see that those things are beginning to wear out now because they are not being maintained anymore. Yes, just one administration and the maintenance culture has left us. So like I said, my advice is that government needs to put some policies in place to checkmate the environment.
They should be intentional. So, thank you once again.
1 minute.
Yes, thank you. Viewers, please do your part. Viewers, do your part. This environment belongs to you and I. Plant a tree, keep your environment clean, and government will support you when they see you are doing the right thing.
All right, thank you so much. I think we have come to the end of today's program, You and Your Environment. We are here for you to educate you on how to take care of your environment. If you don't take care of your environment will take care of you, and it will become negative on life, on your life. You understand? So it's not good to go to the hospital. It's good to live, healthy all the time. So I remain your host, Gilbert Olie. We'll come back again next week with another topic. Thank you so much, and God bless.